America is not confused about Zohran Mamdani, and that's the first lie we should retire. Confusion is curious. Confusion asks follow-ups. What we're seeing instead is anxiety. America is deeply conditioned to a version of capitalism that treats pain as proof of seriousness. We've been trained to believe that if something helps people too directly, too clearly, it must be irresponsible. So when Zohran Mamdani steps into the mayor's office and starts talking about housing stability, cost controls, and public good, like those are baseline expectations, not utopian dreams, the system flinches, not because it doesn't understand him, because it understands him perfectly. America is very comfortable with inequality as long as it's framed as inevitable. Zohran threatens that framing. He speaks in a way that implies suffering is a policy choice. That alone is enough to make people sweat. It's important to sit with the timing of this panic because it tells the truth louder than any op-ed. Zohran Mamdani has been mayor for 2 days. 2 days. He hasn't restructured a department. He hasn't touched the full budget. He hasn't rolled out the first major executive action. And yet the political class is already rushing to tell us why his agenda won't work. Not might struggle, not needs time, won't work. That speed isn't analysis, it's damage control. That's people racing to kill a story before it becomes evidence, because once policies exist long enough to measure, excuses get expensive. Here's something most people don't know, and it matters more than resumes and sound bites. Zohran Mamdani didn't learn politics in donor salons or consultant war rooms. His political education came through housing courtrooms, tenant assemblies, and organizing spaces where nobody claps and everybody's exhausted. He spent years dealing with the mechanics of displacement, not just the rhetoric of affordability. He knows how eviction works in practice, how landlords exploit delays, how tenants lose simply because they can't take time off work. That experience shows up in how he speaks. There's no abstraction in his language. When he talks about rent, it's not theory, it's memory. Another thing that rarely gets airtime is how intentionally he's built trust across communities that are usually siloed. Zohran is genuinely multilingual, not in the campaign trail sense, but in a way that allows him to navigate immigrant spaces without intermediaries. That changes power dynamics immediately. Information moves faster, misunderstandings shrink. People who have historically been invisible to city leadership suddenly recognize themselves in the room. That terrifies systems that rely on fragmentation to survive. When people can hear government directly, the middlemen lose leverage. A lot of the pushback is being routed through Islamophobia. And yes, that's real and it's ugly. A Muslim man holding executive power in America still activates decades of fear conditioning. The coded language is predictable, the insinuations are tired, but Islamophobia is not the core driver here. It's the cover story. The real issue is that Zohran Mamdani is a Democrat who does not worship capital. He ran as a Democrat, won as a Democrat, and now governs as a Democrat who actually believes in democratic socialism as a governing framework. That breaks an unspoken agreement in American politics that says both parties ultimately protect the same economic order. What makes this moment especially volatile is where it's happening. New York is not just a city, it's capitalism's flagship store. It's where global wealth parks itself. It's where real estate speculation has been normalized as destiny. It's where working people are expected to commute endlessly so investors can sleep soundly. If a mayor in this city proves that aggressive affordability measures don't collapse the economy, the mythology starts cracking. The phrase "it can't be done" loses its power. And there are entire industries built on that phrase never being tested. There's also a quieter truth that doesn't make headlines but absolutely drives elite anxiety. Zohran Mamdani has already demonstrated in smaller roles that incremental wins matter when they stack. Pilot programs, pressure campaigns, ordinances that didn't go viral but changed outcomes. He understands that governance is not about one grand gesture, but about sustained friction against bad incentives. That kind of patience scares people more than slogans because it signals durability. It suggests he's not here for a moment. He's here for a shift. Now, let's be grown about this part. Zohran is not perfect. He will make mistakes. He will hit bureaucratic walls that don't move just because intentions are pure. He will discover how aggressively institutions protect themselves. That's real governance. But perfection was never the threat. The threat is adaptability. The threat is learning fast. The threat is building coalitions that don't rely on traditional gatekeepers. That's when systems really panic because it means opposition won't just wait him out. What's genuinely unsettling to critics is that Zohran doesn't perform the ritual of apology. He doesn't start every idea by lowering expectations. He doesn't treat helping people as something that must be justified to markets first. He speaks like someone who understands that budgets are moral documents, that governance reflects values whether leaders admit it or not. In a political culture obsessed with technocratic neutrality, that clarity feels radical, but really it's just honest. So, no, the backlash isn't really about experience, even though that's the line they'll use. It's not about religion, even though that's the dog whistle they'll blow. It's not about feasibility, even though